as I told, I'm required to take compliance into account for CCPA by one of my clients, and as I said, there's going to be lots of changes, lots of amendments, and that is coming true. So just let's just check on a few. Okay. A bunch of amendments exempt certain types of businesses or data types from being subject to the law, including insurance companies, companies complying with government requests, employee data, job-related data, vehicle repair data. Also, and this is huge, they've passed an amendment that changes the language from capable of being associated to reasonably capable of being associated. So, well, why does that matter? Well, the reason that matters is because, you know, there's a lot of data that's somewhat, that can be connected to you. Your great great grandfather in the census data. Mine came over from Austria. Okay, so that and that may have relevance somehow. I don't know what, but most of what we do in marketing is, we're fairly lazy, and we try to connect just the stuff that might matter. Okay, now here's another big one. This amendment excludes de-identified and aggregated consumer information from the definition of personal information. So I use modeling data. I never even see the customer number. I don't care. What I'm looking for is purely a view of the customers from the perspective of data that I have. Okay, so I may have their age and income, but I don't know who they are. I never see that, and it's just not connected. And we keep our computers completely outside of the internet, away from everybody. So, you might be able to hack something, but you're not going to hack real information. Here's another one. Excluding collected from public records. I know what kind of neighborhood you live in. Why? Because I know your zip code. I don't see your zip code, but I know, we connect customer information and zip code. And from the zip code, I can go to census information. And so I know if you're in higher or lower income. Sometimes that matters. Sometimes lower income does better, like for fishing, oftentimes, and sometimes high income does better, like for hunting. There's good examples. Okay. Also, CCPA doesn't apply to loyalty programs, rewards, and coupons. That's big because I'm trying to get a hold of people that it may benefit them, and this kind of pays lip service to the compelling interest clause in the GDPR. Anyway, that's an update for today. Let's go on to customer service. Okay, Paul Selby, Customer Think. I like Customer Think. I got some thoughtful articles. Okay, why does customer service matter? Well, Forbes found that 59% of customers indicated that a bad experience with a company caused them to stop doing business with that company. Although airline satisfaction is up, and profits are up, even though people get dragged off planes and dogs die on board. But in general, Harvard Business Review study found that increasing customer retention by as little as 5% could increase profits from 25 to 95%. Okay, really good. Now, the truth is, though, that usually customer service people don't have the tools to really solve the problem. All they can really give is empathy. Not that that's insignificant. We're getting to that in the next article. But things like billing errors, product quality, lost orders are usually in another department. But, getting those things codified, I highly recommend returns and customer service calls and, nowadays texts and posts to your Facebook and Twitter account. I love to do complaints on Twitter. Everybody sees it. It's great. See whether they come back. So anyway, but once you've codified it, then we got to do something. We got to get to the root cause. Okay? When the root cause is identified, now you work toward a solution. Although one of the fallacies in customer service is that you can make everything average, and that will be the best possible customer service. And we've done some videos on this topic, but sometimes it's best to have a really good customer experience, even though some other things are bad. Like Starbucks has good lattes. I don't know. I don't go there much. I don't like the coffee black. I don't like the taste. It's overburnt. You need to put, you know, fruit flavors and sauces in it just to get it up to McDonald's. But that said, and the pricing is bad. But that said, a lot of people love all the variety of flavors and sauces you can add to it. Okay, so don't think you have to make it linear. Okay, now one of the keys is every business leader needs to experience how a customer feels, and this goes across business to business and consumer. Um, we are creatures of emotion. Have you met personally with an end user or customer? I used to encourage, in direct marketing, we call it direct, but it's really completely indirect. It's remote buying. Okay, we pioneered remote buying. And so I would say to CEOs and presidents, have you talked with a customer lately? And almost inevitably, it was no. In one company, which was B2B, they were looking for a way to kind of turn their company around rapidly. And I said, well, why don't you call your best customers, your top 1%? Just try this. Call the top 1% who haven't bought in the last 3 months, but were in the top 1% last year. And the son of the founder said, we don't have an outbound telemarketing center. And I looked at him straight in the eye and I said, let me say that again. Why don't you call your best customers who haven't reordered? Well, it was interesting, and he finally did it. And it did turn the company around in a big way, and then they extended the program down into other customers who had disappeared. But what they found was that 75% of the customers who had not reordered, who'd been, their best customers, it was because someone had changed job descriptions and they were mailing to that person, and now they were in a different job, so they didn't care about the catalog and didn't bother to forward it. And by just calling and finding out who the right person was, it just bumped their sales up a great deal. Okay, emotion, empathy. Okay, the first thing I learned when I was actually a customer service support person was you may not be able to help the customer, but you can sound like you care, which is different than this article says. But, I think there's some merit to it. You may not care, but you can sound like you care. Empathetic leaders take the time to actually listen to what their customers are saying. So I would say to, again, catalog suppliers, when you're going to the next conference, go a couple of days before or after, find out who your best customers are, and just call them up. Say, I'm in town. You want to have a cup of coffee? There you go. And this thing really gets in touch. Only 3% of CEOs spend more than 6.2 or spend more than 3% of their time with customers. There's some great examples down here. Get outside your office. Sit and listen in the call center. I used to do that. I used to take calls. Execute a transaction online as a customer would. Yeah, try to place an order from your own website. That'll be a hoot. And then see what kind of follow-up predictive modeling suggestions you'll get from your AI system. Pick up the phone, call them. You can be video calls. Okay, all of these. This is a great article, and make that a habit. As Ernest Hemingway said, I like to listen. I've learned a great deal from listening carefully. Most people never listen. And I'll listen to you, so send me a note. And I've learned that likes are nice, but shares mean you care.